The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Paranormal Concept right here on Parasearch UK Radio with your host, Paul Rook.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a live edition of the Paranormal Concept Show tonight. I'm joined tonight by my ever lovely co-host, Kerry Greenaway. Hello, Kerry.
Hello. All right.
Took your time there. Got worried.
I'm so sorry. I forgot how short. I thought it was longer than it was, and it wasn't. And it was like, oh, I've got to press the button. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I'm running out of time.
I thought you'd run out the studio then for a second.
I was like having a right little moment.
Yeah. So, how's your week been?
My week has been great. Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Have you done anything paranormal?
No, it's not been great for everybody around me because I'm giving up smoking.
Oh, right, okay.
So everybody's avoiding me like the plague at the moment. And I'm like, talk to me! And they're like, no, we really don't want to talk to you at the moment, Kel. You're not nice. You're not a nice person at the moment.
That's not always a bad thing, unless you get a bit of peace and quiet.
Well, this is true, but yes, so that's happening. So yeah, I haven't done anything paranormal because I'm too busy focused on the fact that I'm not smoking.
and all the kids go back to school this week.
Yes, which is why I thought it might be a good week to give up because they're not around to annoy me, and they're not around for me to kill them. Is the other side of it? But clearly,
well, you still got the battle, the first day battle to get around you, haven't you?
Well, I've just decided to go for a water hose just to get them out of bed because I've got work tomorrow as well early, so everyone's got to get up. I still have a 2-penny. Sorry.
You want one of those little pressure ones where you pump the water bottle up, but put the water bottle in the fridge the night before.
Oh, that's just nasty. I like that idea. Yeah.
Out.
They realised that Mummy wasn't quite normal when she came home from work, and literally I walked in the door and there was like a pile of shoes, and I went into the front room and there was like everything out of place, and I'm like pure banshee mode, and their friends were around and I got them running around the house tidying up and sorting as well. I was like in proper banshee mode, and I had to go in the garden and do some deep breathing exercises to calm down. I really was like, oh my God. Anyway.
And when you came back, they'd all left the house for something to eat.
They'd all gone, right, let's go out for dinner because Mummy's clearly not right today. I'm not a nice person at the moment, is all I can say. I'm avoiding people in case I say something I regret.
That's fine. I can, no, that's it. I can relate to that, to be fair. Anyway, let's move things on. Okay, we're talking tonight about superstition.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I acquired a book about superstition, and I thought, you know what, it'd be quite interesting to read out some of the weird and strange superstitions.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I know you've been looking at some superstitions as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see with. I
haven't read a book on it. I would just like to say I've just done a search around the beautiful web that's out there. So I've just done a little bit of a search just to out of curiosity, as you do. But yeah, you've got this book, so you kick it off.
Yeah, I've got the book. Can't see most of it, but
oh, for God's sakes! Okay, so we're running by the seat of our pants again, are we, Paul?
Absolutely, the way I like it, absolutely, it's fine. No, the first one, right, I saw that was I've never heard of before, was one to do with rabbits. And it was said that black rabbits are thought to host the souls of human beings, while white rabbits are said to be really be witches. And the people used to, at the beginning of the month or something, it was, people used to repeat to themselves, white rabbit, white rabbit, white rabbit, out loud, while walking on the first day of the month. That's it. To ensure that they would get good luck for that month.
Wasn't there an episode of Most Haunted where Derek Acora said that there were white rabbits and they were the souls of the people that had lived in the house? I can't bloody remember where they were now, but I remember absolutely crying with laughter at that, because I was like, I can't believe he's just said that the rabbits are the souls of the people, and that must be where he got it from.
Yeah, so he must have read this website or book.
Yeah. How
Absolutely.
weird. I remember that, because as you're saying it, I'm thinking, I remember the Derek Acora doing that bit. I haven't heard of that one, to be fair.
No, I haven't. And there's only one Derek Acora moment that I ever remembered, and that was something about Mary.
Well, we all remember that one too. But the other thing with rabbits is the paw, the rabbit paw thing, isn't it? It's supposed to bring good luck.
I've never understood that, because it's never been lucky for the rabbit.
Well, it's not been lucky for the rabbit, but rabbits are very, this actually is more of a hare than it is a rabbit. And this goes back to where they used to do rabbit coursing or hare coursing. Like where they get the dog thing. If you remember, there's a film called Snatch, and there's a very iconic scene in there where they're doing hare coursing with two lurchers. Yeah. And if you look at how the hare or the rabbit moves, it can escape very easily. It's very lucky in that respect. So the old superstition was, if you had a rabbit foot or a hare foot, then that would give you that kind of ability to duck and dive and weave yourself out of trouble. So it would bring you good luck in those kind of circumstances. So I know where that came from in regards to rabbits and hares, but yeah.
Interesting. So have you found out any others about rabbits or?
No, that was it on rabbits and hares.
No, that was it. Okay, that's fine.
Move on from a rabbit or a hare.
We can move on if you like. Again, they go on. They talk about magpies, but I think everyone knows that one with a whole rhyme. That's 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for
where
girl.
The origin of that is from.
Well, it does say on this page actually that when people used to see one magpie, they would say something like, "Good morning, Mr. Magpie, and how's your lady wife today?" Yeah. By acknowledging the magpie in this way, you're showing him proper respect in the hope that he doesn't pass bad fortune onto you. And by referring to the magpie's wife, you're also implying that there are two magpies, which will bring you joy rather than sorrow. So, yeah, that's sort of the tradition with that one. But as for the origin, I don't know. I don't know if you found that one.
Not off the top of my head. It's not one I looked into, to be fair. God, there's so many. Isn't there? There's so many from around the world. It's crazy.
It is. It's like, right, what ones have you found out?
I kind of went for the more normal ones because it fascinates me, actually, that some of, the normal ones, where do they come from? Why are they all of a sudden massive superstitions? The best one I found, I have to say this, and only because I saw this at I didn't go to the wedding. I was being a nosy social stalker and saw somebody else's wedding, and they had a chimney sweep.
Yep.
At the wedding, and I was thinking, why is it supposed to be good luck to have a chimney sweep at a wedding? Well, apparently, I found this one out. In 1066, King William nearly got run over by a carriage, but he was actually saved by a chimney sweep, and as a reward, he invited him to his daughter's wedding. So after that, everybody was like, "Oh, it's really good luck to have a chimney sweep at your wedding," and that's where that tradition comes from, because he got saved by a chimney sweep from being run over by a carriage.
Yeah.
See? So that's actually where that comes from. It's not anything like deep and dark and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's just something as simple as that. And because the kings and queens were so, I don't know, placed on the throne by God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What little things, like I say little things, that's quite a big thing really, isn't it? Because he saved the king from dying. But things like that become such ingrained, and it's good luck to have chimney sweep. Oh, that was good luck with the chimney sweep that day. Oh, must have them at your wedding now. You can see where these myths and legends surrounding superstitions grow from. But that's where that one come from. I found that fascinating.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
I also looked in some of the. I looked at some of the more traditional superstitions.
Okay.
Like, for example, black cat crossing your path.
Yes.
And apparently in ancient Egypt, all cats, including black ones, were highly regarded and well protected from death and injury.
Yeah, they were.
So it's customary in England and Ireland that black cats would bring you luck.
There is another tale allegedly linked. Well, they were very sacred in ancient Egypt, that goes without question. But there's a tale to do with King Charles I, to do with the black cat and good luck.
Oh, right, okay. And have you got that one?
I have. He had a black cat, King Charles I, and he adored this cat. And when it died, he said that his luck had gone. I don't know what the cat was called, by the way. It could have been called Luck, for all I know, or Lucky, or
Bubbles.
Oh, well, I don't know. But he just said that he was like really upset, and he said that his luck had gone. But the very next day, he was arrested and charged with high treason. So it's kind of like why it's now known as a black cat brings you bad luck.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Each to their own, I suppose.
But I thought that was, again, linked to the royal family, and a whole thing has come out of that. But then if you link it to the history with regards to the ancient Egypts and that mythology that's come through, and then that happens, it kind of backs up some of the ancient mythologies that are around, and you can see how it grows. You can see how these superstitions grow and become deep within society's psyche, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it does say here that if a black cat crosses your path, bad luck will come to you, and it can also be an omen of death. Mm-hmm. In another version, it's believed that if a black cat walks towards you, it will bring you good luck, and if it walks away from you, it takes good luck away.
Yes, I've heard that too. But that's to do with being going back into like the medieval times, witches and stuff like that. They were said to be the familiars of a witch. And so if it walked in front of you, it's marking you. If it walks behind you, watch your back. So it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like one of those kind of familiars of witches. But,
I suppose if you're walking around and a black cat's around your feet, you've got to watch where you're standing because you'll just trip over it and break your neck.
Mate, seriously, I've had an occasion where I had a ginger cat, not a black cat, but a ginger one, and it was like rubbing itself up against me. Now, I'm actually allergic to cat fur, so I can't stroke cats. I love them dearly, but I can't really do too much with them. I go, oh, lovely cat, you're lovely. Can't touch her, right? Because I get like hives and stuff, and it's not pleasant. So, anyway, this cat is like rubbing itself around my legs, and I'm like, go away. Because I've got to go to work and I can't get hives before I go to work. And I was just stood there waiting for my lift. Anyway, it just went crazy. All of a sudden, it was rubbing itself, doing all the purry thing. And then it literally just went crazy. I had so many bleeding scratches up, and I'm not swearing there. I actually mean bleeding scratches up my leg. So for me, ginger cats don't like me. I'm not doing the ginger cat thing.
No.
So, yeah, that wasn't a very good experience. So I don't like ginger cats for that reason.
Have you looked up walking under a ladder?
I have.
Okay, go on. Do you want to explain that one?
Okay, now this does go back to Egypt. That's 5,000.
Yeah,
When we talk about Egypt, I always want to kind of break into Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat. I know, it's terrible. 5,000 years ago. Now, when you lean a triangle up against a building, it forms a triangle. I spoiled the punchline then, didn't the ladder up against a building or something, it forms a triangle. Now, obviously, in Egypt, that was an incredibly sacred shape, wasn't it?
Yep.
Think of the pyramids and everybody. The triangle represents the trinity of the gods. And to walk under the ladder means you're sort of like breaking the triangle. So it's a desecration. And that's kind of where it came from. And then it went on. So that's sort of where it kind of started from. And then it went on to when they used to crucify people. And this actually came out from a Christian belief, where when they put Jesus on the cross, they put a ladder up to climb up and be horrible to Jesus, basically. And so it became a symbol of wickedness and betrayal because of this ladder up against the crucifixion while they was crucifying him. And that's sort of another way of, that's why it become such a bad symbol and such a bad thing to do. And in the 1600s, criminals were actually forced to walk under a ladder on the way to the gallows because it's another way of disrespecting the gods. They won't be entered into heaven. But your mind is blown now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know what? As a kid, I mean, I was always brought up with that superstition about walking under ladders and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, another superstition that sort of really baffled me was stepping on a crack in the pavement. Have you looked that one up already?
There is known, as from what I found anyway, I'm sure somebody will come, well, I know the answer to this, but when I was researching that, there was no known origin of that. They couldn't work out why, because it was supposed to break your mother's back. Step on a crack, break your mother's back. Yeah?
Well, yeah, that's what this I'm on a website now, and it does actually say that this superstition dates back to the 19th and early 20th century, when racism was prevalent in society. The original unkind verse is believed to be either step on a crack and your mother's baby will be black.
Ooh.
Or step on a crack and your mother will turn black, due to the fact that interracial marriages were frowned upon.
Well, they were.
So that's sort of, yeah.
Back
obviously,
today.
You know, exactly, going back that far. And that's sort of the origin of it. And obviously, as we've progressed, it's changed to the whole break your mother's back instead.
Oh, see, I would have thought that would be the other way round. It started with break your mother's back, and then somebody thought that makes a good rhyme for being nasty about black people, and then it's changed back again because it's now racist. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I couldn't find any origins of where it first originally came from, that saying. But
yeah,
I would have thought it'd be the other way round and then back again, if you know what I mean on that one.
Well, it does go on. I mean, it says in the mid-20th century, it was common to tell... This is outrageous, really. It was common to tell children that if they stepped on the cracks in the pavement, they would be eaten for lunch by bears waiting for them around the corner.
Yeah, see, we used to play that. I remember playing that myself. As we were, like, going down the street, we would, like, be dancing amongst the cracks. And we would say, because a bear comes out, well, where does it come from? It really... Where does it come from? Who knows? Weird things children do, eh?
Oh, another thing, because as we mentioned bears already, another... I had to laugh at this one. I thought it was quite funny. But obviously I'm medical-minded, so that's sort of my sense of humour. According to some, one ancient British superstition is told that if a child rides on a bear's back, it will be protected from whooping cough.
Mate, seriously, find me a bear. Oh, really?
Well, apparently, it says while in ancient times bears used to roam Britain, now they're only kept in zoos.
But you say that. There used to be bear baiting, didn't there?
Yeah, it just made me chuckle that people actually believed that it cured whooping cough.
I wonder if there was a thing before the bear baiting experience that used to allow mothers to, like, bounce their children on this bear's back because of this. Maybe that's what happened.
That's got to be some brave mother to walk up to a wild bear and shove their child on its back.
Yeah, but they were like chained and stuff, weren't they? And they
Well,
were
I
a
don't
bit
know.
mad back in Day. And
It doesn't specify that these. It doesn't specify that these bears were chained up.
Yeah, but we're 14th, 15th century here, like bear baiting. Penny's in the chat room. Penny, when was bear baiting in the UK?
Just look it up.
I know Tower of London had bears, and they used to have a bear pit, didn't they? Because Queen Elizabeth II used to like to go into a bear baiting scenario.
Didn't they? They used to have animals at the London Tower of London as well.
Yeah, they had lions
because
and polar bears.
Yeah, when ships used to come in with these exotic animals as gifts for the royal family, that's where they were put. I knew that.
Yeah, and they had a polar bear
they must
as well.
have bears there.
That used to swim in the Thames.
Yeah, there you go.
So can you imagine a queue of these mothers wanting to like, can I just ride my little child on the back of your bear because it won't get whooping cough then? I mean the logic.
I suppose that's where Pooh Bear came from, maybe.
Pooh Bear. Penny actually says that bear baiting was between the 16th century until the mid 19th century. That's actually that's later than I thought it would be actually.
Yeah.
Not as far back as I thought. Good girl, Googling. Love it.
Yeah.
We all do a bit of that. Don't you worry about that. Nothing wrong with a bit of Googling.
Yeah, it just made me chuckle, that whole bear and whooping cough thing. It was amusing.
Well, it's amusing when you get the mental images in your head and you start thinking. Sorry, that's just my sick brain, obviously.
Yeah, and again, as we've already mentioned, the Tower of London, there's even superstitions about the ravens.
Yes, there is.
Basically, that if the ravens ever leave the tower, then the crown of England will be lost and the empire will fall, basically. So, to avoid that, they've clipped the wings of all the ravens, so they're stuck. That's right,
yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That's another one I've looked into.
There is a reason behind that.
Go for it.
I don't know it. I don't know. I just remember them telling the legend, and I can't bloody remember what it is. But I know that they have. I do know there was a story behind why the ravens at the tower are so. Why that superstition is so strong behind it. Isn't it because once upon a time they left and England got overthrown, or there was a threat to the crown or something? There must have been something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And so they decreed that the ravens will always be at the tower from then on. I'm sure, because I did the tour, obviously, of the Tower of London. Charles II, and there's
Didn't remember it though, did you?
There's actually no, only because Penny's doing a brilliant job at filling out gaps in the chat room. I know that there are 6 ravens at the tower.
Yeah.
And I know you're right in regards to they do clip them so that they can't fly away, basically. But, there you go, guys.
There you go.
They're quite big birds, ravens, actually, aren't they?
They what?
Big birds. They're bigger than anticipated.
Yes. I think they're...
So I'm laughing at Penny. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, right, okay. Blackbird family. And apparently the rook is the largest of them all.
Isn't it a murder of rooks? When you get a good big gaggle of it, it's a murder of rooks, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, because it's murder.
It's murder. Okay. I still can't say it properly.
So what other superstitions have you...
Well, I was interested... I have to say, I was interested in looking into... I looked into an umbrella. Why do you open an umbrella indoors, right? Weird old superstition, I thought. But we all follow it, even to this day and age. And this actually is quite a new one in terms of superstitions. And it goes back to the Victorian times. And basically, this is a very practical superstition. This is where a superstition has grown out of practicality. Because if you look at the construction of an umbrella back in the Victorian days, they were very sturdy. And they were quite... Prongs were sharp. rather than like the rounded bobble things that they have on them now. I mean, nowadays you open up...
dangerous if you get them in ice.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why you shouldn't do it indoors, because there's kids and ornaments and precious artifacts of family heirlooms and stuff around. So that's basically where it comes from, is that if you open it indoors, your chances are higher for having an accident or breaking something. And the spring mechanism as well back into deer was very, very strong. So it's like pa-ding, rather than nowadays where you have... They're flimsy. When you look at umbrellas nowadays, they are so flimsy, right? Oh, Richard's in there. They're arguing about which king it was now, about the Tower of London. My God.
He was one of them.
Yeah,
one of the male
either
ones.
Charles II or Charles II, he said. Or the 11th.
That day.
Oh, shut up, Richard. He's kind of catching out with Roman numerals, I'm sure. So that is a superstition that has grown out of practicality, which is just a humble old umbrella. You know, that quite practical. Don't open it indoors. You're likely to poke your sister's eye out with it or break Auntie Margie's ashes urn. You know? Yeah.
Well, I've got in front of me actually a website about the open umbrella. And it says it's still believed by some that opening an umbrella indoors will bring you bad luck. The origins of this superstition are not totally agreed upon, but some say that it can be traced back to the early Egyptians. Back then, the umbrella protected people, mostly nobility or religious leaders, from the heat of the sun, not from the rain, as we would think. Where was I? Not from the heat of the sun, but from the rain, thought to ward off spirits that might do them harm. To open one inside, even in the shade, would offend the god of the sun. So again, they would try and they believed that it was offending. Is it Ra, the god of the sun?
Yeah, Ra.
They thought that it just annoy him ever so slightly. And it was also believed that the Egyptian goddess Nuit enveloped the sky with a huge umbrella. The beautiful man-made umbrella was fashioned with peacock feathers and papyrus, and represented the goddess. Because of their religion and significance, they were usually held over the noble classes. The shadow that surrounded the person underneath the umbrella was considered sacred, and if someone other than nobility stepped into this space, it was considered sacrilegious. So there you go. There's another.
That must be where, like, it sort of again. It's like an ancient one that's sort of come forward, and then it kind of gets changed. I'm not thinking of the right word there, but it gets sort of like twisted and distorted into something more modern. But
it's fascinating.
It is. I actually found some of them actually incredibly fascinating.
Yeah,
that I didn't know about. Really weird. Like walking under the ladder. I just thought it was because how stupid would you be if you walked under the ladder? Someone's obviously up the ladder, could drop something on your head. I thought it was something as simple as that, and it wasn't. Wow.
Oh, I'd again going down the list. Knock on wood.
Ooh,
I thought this was like right down your alley with the Irish folklores.
Okay. You've obviously got a different explanation to that than me.
Okay, yeah, it's a bit far-fetched for me, but going into Irish folklore, it does state, apparently, that touching wood sends a thank you to the leprechauns for good luck, and the Greeks worshipped the oak trees because it was sacred to Zeus, and the Celts believed that spirits living in the trees... they believed that there were spirits living in the trees. Touching those trees were thought to be good luck.
Okay.
And that's like the Irish folklore and the Greeks.
Kind of. No, I can sort of see that. I can sort of see why they think that, because of like the elementals and stuff like that. They would, the fairy folk and stuff. There's a strong fairy folk mythology, isn't there, with the Celts and that, and then with going to the Greeks, they had like loads of weird and wacky stories over there. I loved a weird and wacky one, didn't they, the Greeks?
Oh, of course they did.
And the Romans as well, but, not so much, but, Anyway, getting off topic. But, I can understand why they would sort of do that. But I kind of came across a couple that when you were making an oath, you would touch the wooden crucifix. And that's where it comes from. You knock on wood because you're making an oath. So you go, oh, don't do that because that's my oath. It's like an oath thing. Or in the medieval way, it was to keep out spirits. So you're knocking the spirits out of the place because they don't like the vibrations it's causing. Bearing in mind, everything was wood back into it, dear.
I wouldn't go with the crucifix explanation because it wasn't lucky for some people.
Wow.
Because they were like crucified and stuck to the cross.
Not particularly, were they? Couldn't really knock on it though because they were like a bit nailed on.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't go with that explanation. I'd more lean towards the whole elemental side of it.
I think you're right on that one.
Yeah.
I can only tell you what I found. That's all I can do is tell you what I found.
Well, no, that's fine. There's so many different explanations, weird and wacky.
I know. That is what you find though when you start looking at these, isn't it? You kind of come across one or two and then you think, and then somebody will add another one in and you're like, oh my God, how do you work out? Or is it just people trying to make up explanations for these weird and wonderful superstitions?
It's so amusing, some of them as well.
Some of them are incredibly amusing. I mean, okay, so we got onto the Celts, yeah? So looking at the four-leaf clover, for example.
Yep.
Right, it's supposed to be very lucky, right, if you find a four-leaf clover.
Okay.
Okay, and if you find one, you're supposed to keep it. And the reason you're supposed to keep it is because if you ever cross the fae, right, the fairy folk, and you want to try and catch them off, yeah, or catch them at their own game, you can make a little potion up, and basically what you do is you put your four-leaf clover in a little bottle with some water, leave it out under a full moon, and then you rub it on your eyelids, and then you're supposed to be able to see in the fairylands.
Right.
But nowadays, we've developed a plant that is purely four-leaf clover, so it's not like the old days where it was, a rare occurrence. Whereas, finding a four-leaf was like an abnormality.
Are you sure? I would say, are you sure? Right, it wasn't just cannabis they were rubbing into their eyes.
No, that's a five-leaf plant. I think you'll find. No, that is a true warding belief. Used to be.
Okay.
It probably isn't now, but it used to be because, like I say, they've developed a four-leaf clover plant now, So nowadays you can get any old four-leaf clovers, but back in the day when they were like roaming hills and valleys, they were quite rare. So, yeah. There was something to be noted. Along with the hagstone. If you look through a hagstone, the superstition is that you can see the fairylands or fairy folk through a hagstone, which is basically a river stone with a hole that's naturally been born in it. It's not like a drilled hole, it's a naturally formed hole within a stone. And people find them a lot at beaches, funnily enough, and they'll pick them up and go, oh, it's a hagstone. But the ones that are important are the ones that are river or brooks or streams, not seashore ones, the ones that are really relevant to the Celts and to the fairy folk. Those are the ones you want to be looking for. So, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. You'll thank me when you cross the fae. I tell you, you'll be thinking, oh my God, thank God for Kerry. She knew all this stuff about the fae.
I'd wish you was there instead of me. Going back to your four-leaf clover, I've actually found a piece on that as well.
Go on,
and it does say, according to the Irish beliefs, the superstition stemmed from the Druid priests who used to use shamrock for healing the sick in worship and rituals to ward off the evil spirits. Prior to this, St. Patrick had found the three-leaf clover to be an extraordinary plant. Apparently, again, right, the ancient Egyptians, they have to get in it as well.
Obviously.
in
They've got a lot to
ancient
answer for,
Egypt,
the Egyptians.
they do, don't they? When a couple got married, it was traditional to give them a 4-leaf clover, which was a blessing of their union and representation of the undying love for one another. It goes on to say some of the beliefs surrounding the power of the 4-leaf clover include the following. Okay, and there's like 7 different ones of it. You've got each of the 4 leaves on the lucky charm had a specific meaning: faith, hope, love, and luck. The next one is both children and adults would hang the 4-leaf clover at home to ward off evil witchcraft and bad omens. Mm-hmm. Third one says a person who finds a 4-leaf clover will meet a future lover on the same day. Some people even go as far as putting the 4-leaf clover in their shoe for some reason. Anyone who possesses a 4-leaf clover will have good fortune in any ventures that they attempt. Number 5, the 4-leaf clover is a charm that protects against evil. I think that's covered in the first one, really. And I think anyone with 4-leaf clover will be able to see the fairies. That's what you said.
Yeah.
One belief states that you will only have good luck if the 4-leaf clover is kept out of sight, never passed to someone else. Another one states that if you give the 4-leaf clover to someone else, your luck will double. So that's sort of covering every eventuality, I think.
I was going to say, pretty useful little thought. No wonder they wanted to do a vein of clover that is purely 4 leaves.
Yeah.
I wonder if we looked into the developer of that, how his luck kind of panned out.
Actually, I'm going to go on Dragon's Den next week. I'm going to invent 4-leaf clovers and just sell them.
No, you can't. They're already invented. I think they'll say, can't you just grow your own?
Well, no, that's what I mean. I'll grow my own.
Oh, no, but I reckon you can go to the garden centre and buy a plant that's already a 4-leaf clover.
Yeah, but it's going to take ages.
I'm just having a Google now, see if we can buy it. Plants. 4-leaf clover, plants for sale. Yeah. Easy peasy, mate.
Yeah, garden centre on the A41.
Yeah, it's not a problem, darling. You can buy that. I don't think that's going to be a Dragon's Den goer, quite frankly. It's already been done. Oh.
Never mind. Let's move on to the next superstition then.
Hold on.
What
5-leaf
found?
clover. I'm joking. I've gone off into all...
Isn't that just a bush?
Horticulture. That's where I was going. I nearly said ornithology, which I'm sure is birds, but you know. Right, where were we?
Your next superstition. What other ones have we found?
Well, being as I got onto the Celt thing, right?
Yep.
Because I go off on little tangents. I'm like, we went into horseshoes. I'm trying to be Irish. Horseshoes.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, iron is supposed to be repellent to the fairy folk. So if you've got iron on you, they won't come near you. They won't bother you. They find it literally repulsive and actually repels them completely. So carry iron with you is the old saying. And that's how come we managed to... How do they feel about the iron that's in our bodies already then? Because we all got a bit of iron in us. I know, but it's not that strong. But something like a pure piece of iron is different, which is how come we managed to overcome them and drive them into the different dimension. Come on, keep up. God. Yeah. Right? Yeah, so horseshoe.
Whoever come up with this fairy idea, smoking something a little bit stronger than 4-leaf clovers.
Anyway, so iron, horseshoes made of iron have the ability to ward off evil. They're also in a crescent shape, which is horseshoe shape, which represents the crescent moon, which is why you hang them above your door. You have to have them upright above your doors, right? It's because they're a symbol of fertility and good fortune, and it's to do with the goddess Artemis.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get rid of the fairy folk. They give you good luck with fertility and good fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And witches were supposed to fear horses. So if you had a horseshoe in your home or above your door, they couldn't enter because they were fearful of that.
Okay.
That's why
See,
you have horseshoes.
I was always told to have the horseshoe upright, so you've got the gap at the top.
Yep, so was
because
I.
it looks like a container that can contain the luck.
Yes.
And if you turned it upside down, the luck falls out.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
and that's
what
why
I've
they
always been
give
told.
them to brides. That's why they give their horseshoes to brides on their wedding day. You're supposed to anyway. I mean, get lovely crappy plastic ones now.
Yeah, and most of them are like on the Hindus and stuff, isn't it?
Well, I have to say, my ex-mother-in-law was brilliant for this because she actually got me a real-life horseshoe and gave it to me as a child. Like, you know, like they give you all them things that you have to hold after you got married.
I thought you was gonna you was gonna say that she threw it at you. Like
she threw it at me. Yeah, no. She made it really beautiful, and she gave it to me as my one of those charm things that people give to you after you get married. What are those things called?
What things?
You know, like once you literally just got married, and then loads of people give you things to hold and carry around, and there'll be horseshoes, and they'll be like, no, it's not a present. It's like they're like charm things.
Lucky charms. I don't know. Amulets.
No,
I don't know what
well, anyway, I got a load of them, and one of these was the horseshoe, and I loved her for that because it was a proper horseshoe as well. It weren't just a shop bought one.
You know why you get all those after? You know why you get all those after a wedding, didn't you? Because no one wants to buy you a toaster.
So you could throw them at your husband.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Oh, sorry, was that just me? Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about. There's even a superstition to stay forever young, apparently, by carrying an acorn. It says, forget anti-aging creams, because in ancient Britain, women carried acorns in their pockets to stay looking young. According to this encyclopedia of superstitions, the oak tree was believed to provide longevity and ward off illness due to its long life. Mm-hmm. Now, I can sort of understand this because, like, the tree was like the oak tree is sort of supposed to be the biggest and the strongest, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like the king of the forest kind of thing, isn't it?
So by carrying the acorns, I can understand why people would think that. I'm not sure that it works, but especially around where I live anyway.
I don't know. I mean, I have to say, acorns are actually quite useful in regards to...
For people.
You can like grind them up and cook with them.
Yeah.
Acorns.
But I don't think they would have made people live longer and all that sort of stuff, though.
No, but rose quartz you can add to your water and that helps prevent wrinkles and stuff.
Well,
you know, it's my children, I told them to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Can you hear them screaming in the background?
Terrible. That's actually disgusting.
They're so going to die, is all I'm saying.
Going on a little bit down this list as well, it says, because it's a list of 10 different superstitions. I'll read you out the 9th and 10th, because I think these are quite amusing, really. 9, don't eat lettuce if you want to have children.
What?
In the 19th century, English men avoided salads if they wanted to start a family. The guy who wrote this blog couldn't find where the origin of it was, but he did find in a book called Plant Law the suggestion that lettuce was detrimental to childbearing because it was a sterile plant, and as plants that exhibited peculiarities, I can't even say that word, in their actions, so they were supposed to operate on man, apparently. So, yeah, it was just basically saying that it's a sterile plant, so it was going to make the man sterile. And that was in the 19th century.
How much lettuce did they eat back in those days?
Well, not none of these men. They avoided it like plague. Well,
obviously, I think that was just an excuse not to eat lettuce.
Yeah, I'd go with that one.
I reckon the guy's going, she's making me eat this thing called lettuce.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. It's like tasteless. It's there. I don't know what it's for. It's just not very nice. I prefer my leg of chicken. And she wants me to eat this wet piece of green stuff. I know. She wants baby. What we'll do is we'll tell her it make me infertile. Tell her it means I can't do it anymore, so she won't make me eat it.
And then after that, the woman decided that she'd have a headache.
Because of her acorns.
Yeah, that's it, totally. Well, the 10th one, I thought was quite strange. Pass a newborn baby through a ring of cheese. In medieval England, expectant mothers would make what they call a groaning cheese, which was a large wheel of cheese that matured for 9 months as the baby grew. When the groaning time, or childbirth, came, the cheese would be shared out amongst the family, and when nothing but the outer rind was left, the baby would be passed through the wheel of cheese on the christening day to be blessed with long and a prosperous life.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crap.
Yeah.
Isn't there a stone in Somerset or somewhere, though, that's got a hole that you're supposed to pass the baby through? That's supposed to promote good like long life and stuff. So maybe it was we can't get to the stone of life. So maybe we'll make our own by cheese.
Make cheese.
I think I'm reaching.
Or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to make cheese. Let's just use this stone. Maybe.
Oh yeah, or the other way around. Yeah, it's a possibility, isn't it? I need something with a hole in it. Anything? Oh, I've got a cheese with a hole in it. Will that do? It's not quite big enough for the baby to go through. I tell you what we'll do is we'll eat it. Then that's fine. Yeah, these are getting a bit silly, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? But that's the medieval people for you.
Yeah, gotta love the medievals.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's that. I remember doing a show on Superstitions before, and we was talking about the new shoes on the table.
Yes.
Do you remember the superstition behind that?
Because in the olden days, when a miner died, as a mark of respect, they used to put the shoes on the table when they were passing. So that then became a symbol of, like, somebody's passed. It's like disrespectful to put your new shoes on the table because they're not worn miners' shoes, as it were. So
it's almost like I don't want to annoy fate.
Yeah.
So if I put new shoes on the table, someone's going to die.
Or someone's going to die. Yeah. So that comes from that tradition. But I don't like shoes on the table, whatever.
No, especially if there's feet in them.
Well, feet shouldn't be on a goddamn table anyway, is all I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, it should be on the floor. That's where they belong. So, have you found any other superstitions before we clock off for the night?
Well, gosh, you're clocking off very early, Paul. I mean, come on, you just had a month off.
We've got another 10 minutes somewhere.
Exactly, clocking off very early.
We've got to go through what's coming up for next week yet. So.
It don't take that long. It really don't take that long. Right, wishing upon a star. Wishing upon a star.
Yep.
When you wish upon a star. That one, right? Well, apparently it wasn't just any old star. It had to be a shooting star.
Did we have to pay royalties for that bit?
And old Walt Disney just shoved it down to just a star. Okay? But this came from the 1st century, believe it or not.
Okay.
Ptolemy,
cool.
Whoever he was. And stars were gods. He said that stars were gods peering down on Earth. So if you saw a shooting star, you had to wish upon the star because the god's staring down on you with favour.
Okay.
That's an interesting one, I thought.
Yeah.
I like that one. Right, when a bird poops on your head.
Yeah, that's annoying, that is.
It's supposed to be good luck.
Not if I caught the bird, it wouldn't be.
Why is it good luck? I thought to myself, why would that be good luck? I don't think that's very good luck. I think that's bloody inconvenient and an absolute mess, and it stinks, quite frankly. Yeah. But apparently, because it's generally a seabird that will do it, like a seagull that will do it, because they're quite prolific poopers, apparently, more so than other bird poopers. It indicates that the tide will turn. So if you're going through a run of good luck, your tide is going to turn into something not so nice. And if you're having a run of bad luck, it's going to turn into something quite good. So it's the tide is turning in whatever situation you're in.
Okay.
That was quite interesting, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. See, I've always just because I've got a weird sense of humour, and I've always wanted to get a bag of chips, go down to the seaside, pour over liquid laxative all over the chips, throw them out for the seagulls, and just watch the carnage.
I'm sure someone's done that.
I've seen it done on social media.
How awful! That could kill the birds. That could kill the poor bird. Wicked boy.
No, it does. It just literally goes right through the birds and onto everybody's heads.
Onto everybody that's on the beach trying to have a sunbathe.
Yeah. Just watch everyone run for cover.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another one I found out. So
just doing my bit for passing the luck around, that's it.
Oh, that's exactly what you're doing. Well, not necessarily luck, depending on how your luck's going. If it's going well, it could change it to going some not so well. Well, it would be if a bird poops all over you, is what I'd say. Right, so when I got onto the wedding thing, going back to the chimney sweeps, I found out that a man carries, or the groom carries the bride over the threshold because it's bad luck if she trips going into the house for the first time.
Yep,
so to get over that, that's why they carry you over the threshold. That's where that tradition comes from. And the one about where they're not supposed to see you the night before.
Yep.
I love this one. It's because if she does see you, she might get cold feet and change her mind. I would imagine this goes back to the days of when it was more of an arranged scenario.
Yeah.
I would imagine. And wedding bells. Yeah? Why do we have wedding bells, everybody?
Well, because they were attached to churches when people got married.
Yeah, well, it just makes pretty noises and notifies the whole village that there's been a wedding and it's a time of celebration, right? Oh, no, it's to ward off the evil spirits who might try to ruin their marriage. Like relatives who have had too many spirits. Yeah, that's what that one's about.
See, but I thought that the churches and that don't recognise the whole spirit thing.
No, the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. Come on.
Yeah, but that's the Holy Spirit. That's not ghosts and stuff, is it?
All right.
Yeah.
They won't admit to that.
No, keep that bit quiet.
Yeah, there's an exorcist in every diocese. Why, if there's such thing as demons and bad spirits? But anyway, that's a different topic.
Anyway, to cover their backside.
Right, a broken mirror, 7 years bad luck, right?
Yep.
Back in ancient Greece, they used to have mirror seers, and it was the art of what they used to do is put a mirror underwater, and sick people would come and see how they would going to get on, basically, and if their image was distorted, they were likely to die.
Okay.
I wouldn't even go to a mirror seer for that, would you? You'd just be like, no, don't want to know.
Isn't that just sort of pretty much scrying?
It is a form of scrying, but that's why it's bad luck, right? Because if you see your image is distorted and it predicts that you're going to die. Well, the Romans took it one step further. Now, they had a belief system regarding physiology that the body used to go through a cycle every 7 years. And actually, that's still said about nowadays in hospitals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
About your body goes through 7-year cycles. And that actually comes back from the Roman times. Now, they sort of like took this from the Greeks and they said they changed it from you're not necessarily going to die, but you are going to have 7 years of bad luck and illness. So they sort of like merged the two cultures into one to make this superstition.
Yeah. Okay, I get. I've just read up on the mirror very quickly.
Yeah.
And it does say that in the 15th century, Venice, Italy, when glass mirrors were backed by silver coating, when they were first produced, they were prohibitively expensive. Servants of the wealthy, not most often, would be in the position of cleaning or moving the mirror, could never afford its replacement if broken. The punishment or threat of breaking a mirror became that of having to serve for 7 years as an indentured servant to the mirror's owner. So basically, if they broke the mirror, they'd have to serve for 7 years, and that's sort of where that came from. Another suggestion for it, really.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Lindsay in the chat room has just asked about why is it bad luck, supposed to be bad luck, to cross someone on the stairs. Well, this goes back in the days where people used to carry swords and have like knives and stuff on them. And if you crossed on the stairs, then he could stab you in the back.
It could be quite painful.
I would think it would be.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can totally understand that.
And that's another reason why it's really bad form, actually, going on the sword thing, to actually have your hands under the table at a meal. You have your hands on the table at all times on the meal. You don't... Yeah? It's bad form. I always thought it was for completely different reasons to what it is. But again, it's because your sword or your knife would be where they used to keep them. And it would mean you were untrustworthy because they don't know what you're doing with your hands under the table, like getting ready to draw your sword or pull your knife out your boot or whatever it is. And that's why you keep your hands there, so that people can see what you were doing. But it's exactly the same superstition of that's why you have your hands on the table throughout a meal. I thought it so you didn't fiddle with your bits. Men in particular, obviously. But no, it's to do with that. And that's the same thing to do with crossing on the stairs, honey. That's what that one's about. Don't cross on the stairs, it's bad luck. And that's because they could draw on you and stab you in the back whilst on the stairwell. And it's the same thing at the table. Yeah, anyway, that was interesting.
Absolutely. We're going to have to do a show on traditions as well, I think.
Mate, seriously, there's some... We haven't even touched on some of the weird ones. I mean, I found out... Right, apparently, the best day to go to hospital is actually on a Wednesday. Why? No idea. No idea. Doesn't say why, it just says apparently that's what it is.
Okay.
This is an old tradition.
I remember that.
Or superstition that I heard. My dad told me about this one. He used to... at a wedding, if you give someone a gift, not a wedding, but any old time, if you want to give a gift of a knife or a set of knives or, cutlery set, we've got anything to do with a knife, you have to then take a penny of them. They have to pay for that because a knife is symbolic of severing a relationship, whereas if you pay for it, they're not actually gifting it.
Do you know what? I actually read that today in my superstition book.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was talking about the Queen and said the Queen is very superstitious.
Yeah.
And they described that exact thing. She was given a set of knives for a gift. I can't remember exactly what for, but she actually gave them a penny for it.
Yeah, she would have done.
As a way of not tempting fate, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the royal family are incredibly superstitious. Actually, that might be a good show. Superstitions of the royal family, of the royalty, not royal family, royalty.
Yeah, I'll have to read that book in depth, I think, for that one.
Yeah.
See what other superstitions they're into.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Right, that's it.
Yeah,
We're done.
So yeah, we're done. Okay, so we have actually come to the end of the show tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us, and nice to see Lindsay back in the chat room.
Yeah,
Lindsay's not seen her away.
She's not been well.
No, not seen her for a while. So at least she's on the mend now. That's the main thing. And Penny and Richard and everybody else, thank you for joining us tonight. Kerry, what have we got coming up for the foreseeable week?
Okay, tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. we have Haunted Histories, The Tunnels of Valletta. And then on Thursday evening, The Spectral Zone, we've got Jack Clay Stoker being replayed. And on Sunday evening, I'm interviewing Thomas Fusco, who with Graham Smith, because it's a really in-depth theory of Thomas's, which we touched on when I interviewed Graham. And we wanted to find out a bit more. People were interested, so we said, right, let's go get Thomas on, and he can explain it a bit better, and hopefully he will. So yeah, Thomas Fusco, Behind the Cosmic Veil. Interesting, very, very interesting. Yeah. We also have a competition. We have a competition on the Parasearch Radio group page for a lot of little crystal goodies from my very own hands. If you're interested, don't forget you have to be a liker of the Parasearch Radio group page and comment your name on the group page post, not on one of the shared posts that are out there, but on the actual Parasearch Radio group page. It gets drawn on the 11th of September on a Facebook group live. Yep.
So you've got a busy week then.
Wow. Yeah, you know me, always busy.
Absolutely. Unlike me, never busy enough.
Oh, I'll soon be making you busy. Now, next week, what are we talking about next week, Paul?
I don't know. I've not decided yet.
Yes, you have.
Well, what are we doing next week then?
Well, you have raised an event to say we're talking about vampiric demons.
Oh yeah, vampiric demons. Yeah, I've got to read up on some of those.
Yeah, I think we both need to do a bit of reading up on vampiric demons.
I was looking up when I put that suggestion forward. I was looking up incubus, succubus, and basically their king, queen, leader type demon.
Ah, that's an interesting one. It's Lilith.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to touch on that and talk about that.
Great, I've already done the research for that then.
Okay, so he's doing next week's show.
I'll be doing it all by myself. Oh, brilliant. That's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to have a week off, I think.
Another one? Oh my God.
No, I'm back for good, hopefully. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good, absolutely. So that's what we got planned for next week. So hopefully we will see you all again then. And it's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.